Welcome to the Female Stoic Podcast. My name is Stephanie Poppins, and I am an advocate for literary empowerment. That means I believe the examples set by the literary masters can broaden our life perspective, create increased self-awareness, and empower us to overcome the obstacles we encounter here in the 21st century. By listening and referring what we hear to Stoic philosophy, we can foster a strong sense of self and navigate the world more effectively. This podcast takes the form of both discussions and meditations. And if you like what you hear, you might consider looking me up on my socials, where I post empowering videos every day. Or you may like my classic audiobooks and original stories available on my website, neworldbooks.co.uk. Happy listening. Today we are going to be answering another question. I'm going to be addressing one of the questions sent to me. I have people sending me questions. I'm going to be addressing one of those today, and I am going to be obviously answering that from a Stoic point of view, using, as I always do, some quotes from literature to support my viewpoint. So let's go on to the question of the day, and the question of the day is from Jamie from West Glamorgan, and she says, I worry about what will happen in the future. Where will I be? I'm in a low-paid job at the moment and I cannot see a way out. I have this dream about being a content creator, but my friends roll their eyes whenever I tell them about my plans. They think I'm stupid for wasting my time dreaming. What should I do? Now, this is something that is a common question. Navigating the opinions of others while trying to stay true to your own purpose, your own calling. It's a fine balance. And obviously we know as Stoics that behaviour or the opinions of those close to us, be they friends or family, is outside of our circle of control. So the dichotomy of control, the Stoic dichotomy of control, dictates that we have everything within our inner citadel of which we have control over. Sorry, that's not worded very well. And everything outside of that we have no control. But these external forces outside are very powerful because they turn our head, because for the main reason, because of our ego, because we want to be seen by the people around us as successful, as established, as someone to be proud of. And what we have to do is detach ourselves from the ego, which is a very difficult thing to do. But if we don't do that, we lose that mastery over our emotional response to something. And this is what Stoicism is about, is mastering our emotional responses to external forces. So these opinions of Jamie's friends are outside of her circle of control. She can control how she responds to them. So this involves focus. Raise a sharp focus. And her focus needs to be on her plans for the future. This is her life. She is in a low-paid job, which she is doing to pay the bills, but she has a goal. So the best way for her to predict the future, she's worried about the future, is to create it for herself, step by step, no matter how long that takes. And how does she create that? Well, firstly, she keeps her plans to herself. Now, you may say one of the benefits of having friends is that you can share your plans, but one of the realities of life is plans also remind other people of the fact that they are not planning. That they have plans too, but they have dismissed them, or they have pushed them to the side because life has got too busy for them. And Jamie having these plans and being vocal about them is somehow attacking their ego, right? Is somehow making them feel challenged and attacked. So my first piece of advice is tell nobody about your plans. Be very, very, very cautious and careful about who you're sharing your plans with. We all need plans. We all need direction. We all need to be growing towards a purpose. But if we keep our plans private for the time being, this allows us to focus on the work itself without worrying about what the people around us are saying, without being beholden to the external forces. And of course, if we share our plans, we are also creating an external pressure to succeed, right? That can be really stressful. It can be demotivating. So that is then inviting another external pressure, another external force. We've got this inner citadel, and there are people outside of the inner citadel by words or actions with their little picks chipping away 24/7. We're going to invite more of that, are we? No, we're not. So we keep our plans private because we need to focus on the work itself. And in Jamie's case, she's very busy with her day-to-day bread and butter existence, this job, but she also has this inner drive to achieve something beyond that. And that requires razor-sharp focus. And we can only focus to that degree when we stop worrying about what other people think or say. When we dismiss the external pressure. So the key here is for her to remain focused on what she can control, her preparation. This refers to the Stoic principle of wisdom. If I understand in order to achieve something, I must prepare, I must do X, Y, and Z. I must lay my foundations, I must do research. I must slowly but surely save a little bit of money or manufacture the tools I need in order to do the job that I would like one day to be doing all the time. I must prepare my mind for the acceptance that I need to create space for this thing. Therefore, I must take time out, be it 15 minutes a day. I must mentally excuse myself from my other obligations in order to create this thing. Now, I've spoken about this before, about journaling. And I've suggested that we take time out, we make space for journaling. And it's the same with any practice that we are committed to. So within that, and referring back to my journaling course here, within that, firstly, she needs to put her vision into words. She needs to physically describe and own her goal. Then once she's done that, she needs to start preparing little by little. And she can only do that when she has the mental capacity to do that, the mastery of emotion, and to omit the external voices that are naysayers, whether they be naysaying from a place of love or not. That's of no concern. And that might sound a bit harsh, but it's true. With the best will in the world, any voices that are questioning your focus have to be pushed away from your focus. And the only way to do that is to control how you respond to that. So, this one moment of inspiration she has, I'd like to be a content creator one day. That's opened the door to something new. But my next piece of advice is you need to create repetition. No matter how small the steps, you need to be every day working towards that will carry you through to the other side of the door. And this is perseverance. Perseverance in the face of adversity. Why adversity? Because there are many external pressures on her already. She's already got to go to work. She's already got bills to pay. My advice is don't invite any more external pressure, and understand, referring back to this Stoic principle of wisdom, that you need to start moving forward. You need to start repeating small exercises every day. Again, referring to the journalism course, every day, open your journal, look at your goal, say your goal out loud, and understand every day you need to write down a little step you intend to take to achieve that goal. This is not manifestation, because manifestation is saying, I speak, therefore this will become. What this is a practical commitment to undertaking tasks towards your goal every day. Action before you even have time to think about it. Open your journal. What's my goal? Say my goal. What do I have to do? Do it. This is about action, not reaction. Okay. So again, one moment of inspiration is going to open that door. That's going to motivate you. But it's the repetition every day that's going to keep you going. And that's why, come rain or come shine, I get up, I look at my journal, I understand my tasks for the day, and those tasks get done, no matter what. Now, be under no illusion, I get tired sometimes, completely exhausted. But every morning, I say to myself, repetition. You don't have to want to get up. I didn't ask if you wanted to do that. This is your goal, spreading your mission, spreading your word, get up anyway. Action before reaction, just do it. So that's my second piece of advice. Perseverance in the face of adversity. Now this is also referring to the Stoic principle of courage. In Pride and Prejudice, Jane Austen writes, "There is a stubbornness about me that can never bear to be frightened at the will of others. My courage always rises at every attempt to intimidate me." This is Elizabeth Bennett, and what she's saying is, I am independent of the thoughts of others. And if anything, I use their thoughts, as fuel to my fire. But I certainly understand their thoughts are their thoughts, and they are independent of my action. And let's be honest, if we are practicing that repetition, if we are journaling as Stoics, if we are continuing this action rather than reaction, we are independent of our own thoughts too. Do I feel like it? No. Maybe if I just said no. Just get up, start, continue, and then allow your thoughts to catch up with you. Then allow your feelings to catch up with you, and by the time they've caught up with you, they are gone. Feelings are fleeting. They're very, very powerful. But they're not part of the equation. Repetition is the key. Action before reaction. It takes a certain amount of courage to say, I choose to be the person who is brave enough to protect my inner citadel, to master my emotions, and to keep things to myself, even when I'm excited, even when I think something's really going to work. Master my emotion and understand this is a moment of excitement, another emotion. But tomorrow I might be tired of this idea. I'm going to keep this to myself, and I'm going to start slowly but surely moving towards this goal. So we have our Stoic principles that, to all intents and purposes, the columns that are propping up our inner citadel. That's what they are. And we have to be aware of them, and we have to place them as priority. So we are emphasizing the preparation as a key to navigating life's challenges. We do have to prepare. We do have to be aware of what's going on. And again, that's another Stoic principle of knowledge. We have to understand that external forces are always going to be there, and they may come from a place of well-meaning, but there's still an external pressure, and there's still something that has to be guarded against. And that's difficult because, again, with the ego, you want to please people. You have to take that out of the equation. We anticipate potential problems. If I say this, I know that I'm going to get that reaction. I'm prepared for the human condition. I understand that not everyone can master their emotions. I struggle with it myself, but I know that I'm speaking to people who don't even consider that they might do that. So their emotions they're going to have an emotional response to what I tell them. And that's not going to be good for me. So I'm going to, even though I'm excited and feeling really, highly fired up about this, I am going to still, in that moment, try and maintain a level of focus and use that and channel it into the focus of growing and building this thing. My journal is my best friend. I shall tell my journal. And then the next day, when I'm not feeling as excited, I look in my journal, I read what I've written, and that gives me a little bit more fuel to my fire. If you rely on external forces as fuel for your fire, you are on a hiding to nothing. So that is the advice for today. And this character of Elizabeth Bennett, who says she's stubborn, she doesn't want to be frightened at the will of others, actually It's not the stubbornness, it's the awareness of the fact there are people trying to intimidate her. So you've got Darcy's aunt, and she is attacking Elizabeth. She is questioning her validity as a love match. She is questioning her reasons as to why she would want to be partnered with someone who is, so she considered, clearly outside of her social sphere. Way beyond anything she should ever aspire to. And Elizabeth Bennett is saying, my courage will rise. I understand people will try and intimidate me, but I understand who I am more, and I am protecting that person. That's why she's such a great protagonist. That's why she's such a great role model. Such a strong character. Written by somebody who lived in a time where women just simply didn't have, socially speaking, that voice. It was unheard of. So we're talking about Jane Austen reflected in Elizabeth Bennett. It's Jane Austen with a courage. It's Jane Austen with a determination. It's Jane Austen with a strong sense of independence and who she is. Jane Austen the Stoic. So, yes, we're thinking about potential negative events or losses before they occur. We are calling upon our wisdom, our knowledge, our life experience, and we are using that to give a sense of balance when we make choices. Rather than making choices based on emotion, we are, I suppose the word is tempering them. What we're doing is we're saying, okay, well, think practically. I understand I'm excited, but think practically about this. How am I going to use that excitement? Because maybe not everybody will share it. And maybe now is not the time to share it with those who might feel attacked or threatened by that. So focusing then, and once you've done that, that is it. We know we've stayed true to our morals, our values, our inner virtue. And we don't worry about that. We don't then go back and think about it the next day. Oh, maybe I should have said something. In the case of Jamie from West Glamorgan, maybe I should have had a bit more patience with them. Maybe I should have listened to them more. Maybe they're right. Maybe I shouldn't try and, maybe I'm being ridiculous and shouldn't have these dreams. What's content creation anyway? What have I got to offer the world? And then suddenly the walls of your citadel are laying flat on the ground. So worrying about things outside of your inner citadel is futile. Direct your energy toward your actions and your decisions that are within your power. I choose to take small steps every day. I understand that some days I will do more than others, but I commit to taking small steps towards my goal every day, no matter how long it takes. I do not judge myself for how long it takes, but I do judge myself for not preparing. Because I know I've written in my journal my goal, and I know it's up to me to read that every day. Nobody else is coming to do that for me. That's what I know. And this is your foundation for success. You can use that in any area of life. A daily practice of reviewing your actions, your thoughts, reflecting on the day's events, perhaps at the end of the day is the time that you want to be thinking about, what have I achieved today? What am I going to achieve tomorrow? Maybe morning and night. Preparing for the next day with a clear mind. That's not to say we walk around expecting every external force to be negative. We don't. But we look at it from a Stoic point of view, and we make decisions based on the facts. And the facts are this: if we allow the voice, the external voice, to be louder than our internal voice, we are voluntarily damaging our inner peace. We're opening the gates. We're saying, come on in. That's what we're doing. What's the point of having a citadel if you keep opening the gates and allowing another army in? I mean, it doesn't make sense, does it? So, as Stoics, we're preparing ourselves because easy times are dangerous too. They are saying you can let down your guard now. And if we do that and we allow ourselves to let go when we feel great, when we feel up, and we really celebrate the wins before they happen amongst people that we're not even sure will be pleased for us, then when the tough times come, they're going to hit us so much worse, because we have become used to the practice of allowing our emotions to dictate our responses, what we do, our actions. That's not to say we're suppressing them. You still feel excited. You channel that. I'm really excited about this goal today. I'm going to do a little bit more today. I've got these plans. I'm going to write them down and I'm going to put them into action. This is going to be great. We save our heightened emotions for ourselves, for our fuel. And obviously, there are those, very few, as long as we're aware of that, very few, that we can genuinely share these goals with. But they're rare, as we know. Maybe one, maybe two people, that's it. And we understand that we're not always going to feel as excited, as energized, as driven. And when we don't feel like that, we go back to our journal, we look at the day we did feel like that, and we were sensible enough to write that down so that we've given ourselves something. We've put something in the bank so that we can call upon that when things get difficult, when we question ourselves. So we've got this power to remove other people's opinions from our decision making, but we have to go into it with our eyes open. That's my thought for the day. And I do so like to refer to Elizabeth Bennett with questions like these, because she had her faults. She was prejudiced against people who were so proud. And it affected her quite deeply, in so much as she was angry about that and she went completely the other way. But then, as time moved on throughout the novel, as every strong character does, she learned, I should approach these situations with balance. I should not assume, I should know all the facts first, and I should remain committed to keeping a level head so that I come to a conclusion based on fact rather than emotion, which is what she did.